Penguin Random House Canada presents It Stops Here. Standing Up for Our Lands, Our Waters, and Our People. Written and read by Rueben George and Michael Simpson. The concept of Natsamat, which I discuss in this book, tells us that everything is interconnected and related. This book could not have been written without all my relations. All the people who have supported me over the course of my lifetime, and who were there for me when I decided to change. First and foremost, I would like to thank my kids, Cedar George Parker and Kaya George, who have changed my life in the most positive way. Having kids made me want to do better. When Cedar was born, I held him with his head in my palm of my hand, his body resting along my forearm. And as I looked at this little human being, who I was now responsible for, I told myself I better get my shit together. He was now grown up to become a beautiful man, so wise and confident, who travels the world speaking powerfully and protecting the lands, waters, and people. It also amazes me that Kaya, who not so long ago was such a tiny baby, is now such a strong, smart, confident matriarch standing up for her convictions, and always guided by our culture and spirituality. They both run sweat lodge and pipe ceremonies for me because they know the teachings and can hold the space. It took me up until my 40s to reach the place that they have already reached in their 20s. I love my kids, and I couldn't be a prouder dad because of all that they have already accomplished at such a young age. And I just can't imagine how much more they will do for our world over the course of their lifetime. They are both true protectors of our lands, waters, and people. My mum, Amy Marie George, Ta'a, has persevered through things that have happened to her to become an elder and an awesome example of how to do the continuous work of healing. Despite all that happened to her at residential school, she remembered our culture, spirituality, and she passed on those teachings of our ancestors. We may have been economically poor growing up, but she often told us that we were rich culturally, and that we had to carry ourselves in a good way. No matter how bad it was for us, she always made us feel special. Today in our Sundance family ceremonies, she tells people, no matter who they are, to call her Ta'a or Grandma. She's always there for people, always willing to open her home and invite people in. We're very close, and we talk almost daily. My oldest brother Damien has taught me so much. Despite all the chaos around us growing up, with many people medicating with drugs and alcohol due to all the trauma, that colonial system that they experienced, they made a choice to create a better life for himself. I've never seen him drink or use drugs, and I think that this shows incredible leadership. When we were kids, sometimes we just needed to get away from all the chaos, so he'd take us on the bus as far as the bus would go. We would get off and play around a bit, then take it home again. Later in life, he taught me how to tap into our ancestors to receive messages and new teachings. We continue to pray together. My brother's wife, Grace, is presently the chief of Keatsi. She's a beautiful, strong matriarch. They are a beautiful couple together. My brother Nathan is such a charismatic guy. Everybody loved him growing up, and they still do. I remember once when we were playing soccer, and he kicked the ball so hard, he ripped the right off his foot. And he could sing like Bono of U2. Today he is suffering from the impacts of the colonial system, but we still have really good visits a couple times a week. We laugh and we cry together. If I ever having a hard time, he knows it, and he'll want to talk through it with me. One time after he helped me work out some of the things I was struggling with, I said, "Thank you, brother. You really helped me, and you took care of me today." And he replied, "I will always take care of you." Despite his tough situation, Nathan is full of compassion. My sister Cecily is the best of us all. The Tsleil-Waututh Nation is a matriarch society, and that the matriarch leadership is exemplified in my sister Cecily. She always been kind, sweet, strong, loving, and compassionate. She's strong in her convictions. She had 3 big brothers, but she was never afraid to put us all in our place in a sweet and loving way. And we always listened to her, because we loved her and adored her so much. Like my mom, she makes us all feel special. She's a powerful knowledge keeper who remembers our lineage. She's the glue that holds our family together. Cecily married into the Paul family, a beautiful people we respect and admire dearly. Her partner Chad is a strong leader and a spiritual father in our community. Together they are a beautiful, strong couple. My dad is Terry Bakeman from Squamish Nation. Unfortunately, he died tragically at a young age. I was just 1 year old. Whenever I visit my Squamish family, when I was very young, they would cry when they saw me because they loved my dad so much. I asked my mom if we could stop going down there because it made me feel so bad to see my relatives so upset. I did stay connected with my cousin Ed and Brad Baker. We grew up together. Eventually, I reconnected with the rest of my Baker family. When I was about 19 years old, my cousin Keith Baker and Bosco Kelly and many others have told me good stories about my dad. He was very charismatic and loved everybody. I pray to my dad a lot. I can feel him in ceremony. My kids pray to him too, which is beautiful. When I look at my son, I see my Baker family in his face. It makes me think of them, and I send them love and prayers. They are supportive and loving. I love my Baker family. Philip Gurney was my mom's partner, who became my stepdad. He and my mom loved each other very much, and he was instrumental in our lives. Philip was Nisga'a, and I still connect with some of the Nisga'a relatives. They take care of me when I'm in their territory. Michael Simpson and I became beautiful brothers. Through the process of making this book, he is very patient, loving, caring, intelligent, and humble. Sharing details of your life is very difficult. That makes you feel vulnerable. But Mike was a very good brother who was there to listen and make these words into a book. It's a long process, and he was very supportive throughout. As we worked on the book, we would do ceremony together, pray together, visit my family, go swimming, and sometimes just hang out. All that was part of building our relationship to help to work together. As I discussed in the book, when two human beings come together, they form a spirit of love, and that's what we did. We formed a spirit of love and brotherhood. Now we will be brothers for life. It was awesome to be in the wedding of his beautiful wife, Selena, and now has a beautiful son, Cedric. I'm very grateful to have Mike in my life. I have many, many cousins to thank from my Baker Squamish side of my family and from the George to Tsleil-Waututh side. I just love all my cousins. They're all so caring, and at the end of the day, we're always there for each other. My brother cousin Justin has been instrumental in our lives from the time we were babies and throughout my whole life. We have always adored each other. We work together and we have lots of laughs and good times, but we also remember the hard times and always have our nation and our people in our hearts and our minds. I also grew up very close with my brother cousin Gabe, and we work with each other. He's a strong language speaker and the director of our nation's Department of Treaty, Lands, and Resources. Gabe has a big, loving heart. My sister, cousin Charlene, excels at whatever she puts her mind to. She was a television and movie star from a very young age, and she grew up to become a strong leader in our community that she is today. She is elected leader, but also supports and takes care of our community in many other ways. She comes to ceremony and she works with the Sacred Trust Initiative. She travels far and wide, sharing our message, and is an eloquent and compelling spokesperson for our nation. Her presence is powerful, and she's an example of our matriarch leadership, just like her sister, Andrea, and my sister, Michelle George. Over most of her career, Michelle has been in strong leadership positions. She has a strong vision, and like Michelle, all my sisters implement our culture and spirituality into their work. My brother cousin Will George hung from the iron workers' bridge for a day and a half to stop tankers from passing through our inlet. He was one of the main people at our watch house, which I discussed in Chapter 5, and has now been sentenced to prison by the colonial courts for his work protecting our lands and waters. There are many other cousins who I am thankful for and who I want to acknowledge. I send blessings to my Tsleil-Waututh and Squamish cousins and all those cousins beyond. I love each and every one of my cousins. They're all proud and beautiful.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?